What's up, fellas? So I'm gonna be honest with you, I was not gonna film today, but I was talking to a client and he asked me this question. And the question was, Dudley, you talk a lot about healing the little child in you. How do I do that? How do I heal the little boy in me so that I can start moving more freely into my frame and I can start thriving within my business, my intimacy and my relationships can get better? How do I heal that part of me so that I can fully accept myself and move congruently with the man that I know deep down I am? And this is a very profound, deep question. In fact, it's several layers deep, which I'm going to talk about today with you guys. But I felt like, even though I don't feel my best today, I had to get this material out to you guys to honor you, because this is a grown man conversation. These are conversations that are considered taboo in the masculine space. Oh, you're talking about feelings, emotions, right? And so you see a lot of these men who are super rigid, when really that rigidity is them being brittle, because it's something that you're trying to overcompensate from, right? Even if they get money, they're still not a complete man. And this could be sensed by other men in the room. This could be sensed by women. When they finally come across a woman that they actually deeply want, they're timid, they're a fraction of the man that they should be, and ultimately they can't get her. So fellas, before we begin today's video, I want to put something on your mind and I want to make something very clear, because you guys know, and I've always said this is a safe space for all ambitious men, my community. But what I want to make on your mind or put on your mind is this concept right here. Whatever your pain, whatever your crutch, whatever your baggage, whatever your insecurity is, right? Whatever that is, the pain that you hold, the chip that you hold on your shoulder, your wound, we all have them. I've spoken to you guys about mine. Whatever your wound is, whether you shy, you had a stutter like I did, you grew up in a poor background, you bounced around from home to home like I did, you're an orphan, your mother was a alcoholic, your father beat you, you got molested like me. We're gonna talk about that later. Whatever it is, I want you guys to understand this. Whatever your wound is where your genius is. I'll say it again. Whatever your wound is where your genius is, right? For me, I used to have a debilitating speech impediment. So what did I do? It was a lot of internal work. Now, not only do I speak by trade for a living and mentor men all over the world every single day, but I became a polyglot. I'm living in another country right now. Like, I have multiple home bases across the world where I speak multiple languages, right? My power came from the fact that I couldn't communicate. So I made that my strength. And now that's my source of income, right? One of them. That being said, fellas, let's get started with today's video. How do you heal your inner child so that you can start to thrive as a man in your identity, right? The first one is going to be stop pretending like, it didn't happen. And this is real shit, fellas. Let's talk about it. Stop pretending like it didn't happen. As men, we get battered up as we age, right? It's the rite of passage as a man, our plight. We get battered up, things happen. We get our heart broken from our mom, right? I know my mom, she broke my heart early because she shipped me off to live with different people's houses because I wasn't, quote unquote, the best kid. And so that connection was severed and I held on to that up until adulthood, right? Whether it's a woman that you loved breaking your heart, I've had a couple of those too. Whether it's your woman cheating on you or doing you dirty, whether it's a brother that you had that did you dirty, right? I used to fight with my brothers like crazy. And I mean crazy, like disrespectful, spitting in each other's faces, fist fighting. The first person to knock me out was my brother, right? Rest in peace to my brother. That was another heartbreak. Last year on my birthday, I lost my brother, had to bury him. He was only 35. So what I want you guys to understand is that you have to stop pretending like this shit didn't happen and like it's not affecting you. I get it. It's easy to just let the scar grow and say, nah, I'm good. Oh, well, shit has to get done. I got to produce anyway. I got to do this. I got to do that. But what you don't realize is that you're holding back your own development. So what you need to do is you need to address whatever trauma it is, right? But what? You address it. Uh-oh, my marker's running out of juice. Let me grab the other one. Let me grab the other one real quick, fellas. We're having technical difficulties live on the air. I'll use green. Don't stay there, right? The fuck going on with my markers today, man? Stop pretending like it didn't happen. Allow yourself to feel it and visit these emotions, these thoughts, these sentiments. I always talk to you guys about sitting down in silence and pondering. You might cry, you might shed a tear, right? But what's gonna happen is if you don't address this pain, which by the way, fellas, you know I'm a big advocate for using your pain, right? In fact, everything I've built has been off of pain until I got to a certain threshold where I realized that I need multiple fuel sources. I can't just live and produce off of pain. I have to grow and evolve to the next quadrant of my life, right? Which we'll talk about in future videos. Bask in it, feel it, but don't stay there, right? When I say bask, I mean allow yourself to feel whatever it is that hurt you, the person that did you dirty. Address it, because if you don't, it's gonna cap your ceiling financially. It's gonna cap you in your relationships. You're not gonna be able to fully be in your own identity. You're gonna feel like an imposter syndrome when you get a raise for a couple of $100,000 or whatever, right? When you close that business deal, when you finally get your first 45K a month, like my client Max did, when you finally get your first 16K a month, like my client David did. Can you sustain that? You won't be able to sustain it if you don't address it, but never stay there. Allow yourself to process. And what you do when you allow yourself to process this is you diffuse it, right? It hurt. Okay. Let it hurt. Acknowledge that it hurt. But when you try to pretend like it didn't hurt, now you're not living in your what, fellas? You're not living in your authenticity. And when you're not living in your authenticity, this can be felt by everybody around you, right? The way that you construct a magnetic presence, an executive presence and aura is through your authenticity. It's through your dark masculine nature. And your dark masculine nature can only be felt if you are congruent. If you have accepted that you have a couple of scars. I got a couple of scars, right? It reminds me that I survived. If you've been through something, it's a reminder that you're still here. But when you just try to put it away and play it away and not address your emotions as a man, obviously in private, I always tell you guys, never wear your emotions on your sleeve as a man. We have to be in control of our emotions, I would say 98, 99% of the time. There's times where you could cry. Shit, when I saw my brother's body laying in that casket on my birthday, you don't think I was crying my guts out? I told you that story already. I was crying my intestines out. And then my father looked at me and told me to sit up straight. Chita droite. Parce que si vous tombez, Dudley, ou même si vous tombez, toute famille a tombé. In that moment, I said, God damn, fuck. You mean to tell me at 68, my father is still stronger than me? Right? That didn't mean he didn't cry. Of course he cried, right? Of course he cried. He was just trying to play tough. So, fellas, the first step is going to be stop pretending like it didn't happen. Whatever your chip on your shoulder is, I've had many chips. When I got cut off the varsity basketball team as a junior, I held on that girl so much so, nigga, I got so fucking nice at ball, right? Like, I was the first person in my class for basketball that actually had an offer overseas. I went to high school in a very small town in Florida, right? I used the pain, but it got to a point where I had to evolve. I'm like, I'm bigger than basketball now. I tore my ACL. I'm like, yo, what's next, right? So you have to learn how to evolve, right? Stop pretending like it didn't happen. Allow yourself to feel those thoughts, emotions, but never stay there. Let's move to number 2, fellas. Number 2, let's get into it. What is the second way to heal your inner child as a man? The second way is going to be rescue the little boy. Now, you guys always hear me say this in my videos because it's true. Nobody's coming to save us, fellas. You have to be your biggest ally. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. Before you can lean on a woman, right? Before you can get the woman that you want, right? You guys want a supportive woman to support you. You got to support yourself first. The fact that you're competent enough and you're whole enough and complete enough to be your own cheerleader, regardless of what happens, will make her deeply attracted to you and your true strength. Your true strength. Once you've acknowledged that you've been hurt, you've acknowledged the pain, you go in and you rescue yourself. How do you rescue yourself? Fellas, I've been talking to you, man, about this for a long time. Bingo. Self-talk is paramount. The way you talk to yourself. Most of you guys have negative self-talk and you're not even aware of it. How do I know? Look at your reality right now. If you're not satisfied with your life, there's something wrong. There's something out of whack with your paradigm. There's something out of whack with your self-talk. How many times do you guys say little stuff like, man, this shit always happens. It's always me. It's always something. It's always something, man. You think that doesn't play a big factor in your life, but the words hold power. The words are your thoughts manifested in physical frequency, right? And so you have to be very wary of what you say, how you talk, how you conduct yourself, right? You have to go in and rescue the little boy. Talk yourself up. I told you guys in a previous video, I practice looking myself in the mirror and saying, Dud, I'm proud of you. The way we handled that situation today, 2 years ago, we would have handled it this way. That's growth. I see the growth. Good job. I love you. I'm proud of you. The way we're taking care of our body. We have a meal plan service now. We get a massage every week. I'm in martial arts. I'm in Pilates. I swim. I'm taking care of my previous injuries, right? I do yoga. I meditate. I love you, Dud. Good job. We're taking care of ourselves, man. I'm so proud of us. I talk to myself like this in the mirror. I'm talking to myself right now in this camera. There's nobody here with me. So if you have a problem with this, I suggest that you get over it, right? Because we're constantly talking to ourselves. There ain't nothing different if you verbally say something to yourself in the mirror. You're talking to yourself in your mind anyway. You're already crazy. So just accept that, right? Your self-talk. Rescue the little boy. Start doing things for yourself, fellas. Honoring yourself and don't care about what anybody else has to say. For me, I take care of my skin. I'll go get a skincare treatment once a month. Me, I'll go shoot guns. Learning how to protect myself, how to shoot guns. I'm learning martial arts, right? I'll go to art museums and art galleries. I might take a lovely woman with me, but I've always liked the arts. I used to write poetry as a kid, and I was teased about that shit. You feel what I'm saying? But so what? I'm a creator, right? I'm a content creator. I'm a creator as an entrepreneur, right? This is who I am. This is who I've always been. And I used to try to downplay that. But now that I've fully embraced that, I have a wonderful coaching business, modern day Renaissance man ecosystem, where we have men all over the world who I'm serving on a daily basis. I have wonderful projects, wonderful relationships, and wonderful women in my life, all because I've accepted my creativity. So you gotta be able to rescue that little boy and accept yourself fully. Pay very close attention to your self-talk. Take actions for yourself, regardless of what anybody would think. You know, my family came from Haiti into the States, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, unfortunately, for now. And a few years ago, when I decided to leave the USA, my family looked at me crazy because I chose to live in third world countries, right? I was in, Peru, Colombia, Belize, Mexico, Honduras, right? And they were like, what the hell, why would we leave a third world country for you to go back to a third world country? It wasn't about the third world country. It was about me always wanting to be a Renaissance man and being fascinated by culture, by arts. I stopped caring about what my mom said, what my family said. They had never done what I did. They don't speak multiple languages. They don't make the bread I make. They don't have the friends I have. They don't have the experiences I have. And it's not to be disrespectful or to downplay my family. It's just to be candid, right? You have to do what you feel you're called to do, fellas. And so rescue that little boy. Dream again. Live out your goals. Take the actions to make your goals a reality and stop caring about what other people have to say. You might be the first person in your family to experience something different, right? It's not for your family to understand, because the man that you're working on today is ultimately going to serve them 10 years down the line, and they can't see the vision because the vision is yours. So you have to rescue that little boy. You've always known you were great. You've always known that you had the potential, but you hold yourself back in a psychological dungeon, in what I call mental purgatory. And once you learn how to rescue yourself via self-talk, taking the contrarian actions to what your reality is saying, because you know who you are, because you've written your life script, like I said in a previous video. So you have your internal GPS and you know where you're going. Once you've done that, you just keep taking the actions towards the life and the man you know you are. You rescue your own self, because nobody will do it for you. And through doing this, you now become aligned. And when you're aligned, you start to magnetize things towards you. And serendipitous, as I always say, occurrences happen. Things start to fall into your lap. You start to bump elbows with certain people that can elevate you in your career, right? In your business or whatever. You start to make friends that can take you to new heights, new connections, new relationships, new money, new opportunity. Everything starts to happen for you, because why? You're on a certain frequency that is conducive to what you've written down you wanted to live, if that makes sense. You are on the certain frequency that is required for you to experience your wildest dreams, right? So that being said, fellas, this is number 2. Let's move into number 3. Let's get into it, fellas. Number 3, what is the third way to heal the little boy in you? Oh man, this one's gonna be powerful, fellas. Let's get into it. Number 3 is going to be drop the fake stoicism. Now, I came across the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and stoicism when I was living in a little village called Rieti in Italy. I spent quite some time there. I went there after I had a major heartbreak and I had got fired from my tech job, and my income went from 6 figures to just like that. My business at the time was still getting on its feet. It was nowhere near what it is today. And I was in a tough spot. And I had a buddy that was living in Italy at the time. He was playing basketball, and his team gave him a mansion and a couple of cars. And he said, Dud, I got 5 rooms, my nigga. Come stay with me, get back on your feet, do your thing. And it was a couple of months that I spent in Italy where I had to really rediscover myself. And when I came across the teachings of stoicism, my life changed. I learned how to control my emotions, right? And I stopped playing the victim. Now, that's stoicism. You understanding and feeling things for what they are, but you understanding that you have a duty, you have things to do, right? It's much more complex than that, but in short, being able to control your emotions, being a master of your emotions. Now, what I oftentimes come across when I'm talking to gentlemen is a form of fake stoicism, to where you're just numb, you're acting numb, you're suppressing your feelings. Stoicism is not about ignoring your feelings, ignoring things that happen. It's not about emotional numbness, rather, it's about emotional mastery, right? And so you have to ditch this whole, I'm numb, fuck these bitches ain't shit, I don't care, this don't matter, I'm gonna do me, I'm getting money, I'm doing this. You're not fooling anybody, trust me, I've been there. Like I said previously, you gotta accept what happened, right? Accept what happened and then move through that into your true identity and look at everything as, this has grown me. I got a lot of scars that I talk to you guys about. I spoke to you about how I used to struggle with a speech impediment. That was extremely embarrassing for me to even voice that verbally on camera for tens of thousands of people to see, right? Something else that used to affect me is when I was 6, I had a babysitter that used to touch me. I was 6, she was probably like 23, 24. And I'm not gonna lie, she was a bad little Haitian joint. But her touching me and making me do things, and this is some real shit that us men gotta talk about, because this ties into today's topics, right? nah, I'm good, man. Nah, like her doing those things to me, and my mom didn't know, my dad didn't know, and I guess up until this point, nobody has known, and now I'm speaking about this publicly to a bunch of people that I don't even know. But if this can help somebody, then that's my objective. Her doing those things to me gave me an insatiable appetite for sex. And so going into my preteen years, teen years, early 20s, I was a fucking savage. And this is why, like, whenever guys talk about, oh, man, I get mad bitches, mad da. Like, I look at that shit like it's corny, right? Having to brag that you've been with a lot of women, because when you've truly been with dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of women, you feel me? I don't look at it as something to brag about. I talk about it candidly with you guys, but honestly, exchanging that much energy with different people, that shit takes a toll on you. I know it did for me. And these days, I'm a lot more selective with the women that I have in my life. And I had to learn that, right? I had to address that I had that sexual appetite because I was touched as a kid. And I had to address that as a man. Because in the masculine realm, if you get pussy, if you get a lot of sexual access, that's cool. What are you complaining about? Oh, so what? You had a 24-year-old babysitter that was hot, that was touching you. What are you complaining about? But being candid, that shit is fucked up. I can't imagine being an adult and touching a 6-year-old, right? And just because it's a woman doesn't make it better. She was very sick for doing that to me, right? But I'm not a victim. I had to go in and address that and release myself from that to move fully into my identity, because that shit was affecting how I was moving with girlfriends that I had. There were certain issues that would come up that I didn't think was a big deal, but it stemmed from when I was 6 years old, right? And so there's a lot of issues that you guys are dealing with. You might be 30 watching this video. You might be 35, 45, 50, whatever, right? There's issues that are stemming from your childhood, whether it was when you're 5, you're 6, you're 7, you're 8, you're 12, that you're probably not even aware of. And you've just tried to suppress it so long with fake stoicism. But the issue with that is it's always gonna fester and pus up until you dig it out and you actually allow yourself to heal. I apologize if you can't see that this marker's not working that well today, but until you allow yourself to heal, fellas, you gotta allow yourself to heal, right? And once you do that, you start to own your identity, and you no longer feel like a fraud when good things happen to you. You now accept blessings. You can accept compliments. You can move with this lightness. There's no longer a weight to try to act tough. A lot of you men are so rigid. And I know because I've been rigid and tight butt my whole life. I've always been told that I was super serious. And I am. But I am the freest I've ever been in my life. I'm so aligned with who I always was called to be. And this is the best feeling ever. And I really want this for you guys. And once you're able to like ditch the fake stoicism and really analyze yourself, psychoanalyze yourself by sitting in silence. This might take you months. Some guys never get to this point where I'm talking to you guys about. And once you're able to liberate yourself, the confidence is through the roof. Can't nobody fuck with you. It don't matter what happened. Once you can liberate your own mind as a man, nobody can fuck with you, because most men are walking around and they haven't the slightest idea who they are. They're living based off of what their society tells them, what their religious tells them, what their parents told them, what their friends tell them. They're malleable, and they're a fraction of the men that they need to be. And deep down, they know it, but they can't get out of what I spoke to you guys about earlier, mental purgatory, and they haven't given themselves the psychological permission to own who they truly are. So that being said, fellas, the third way to heal the little boy in you is going to be to drop the fake stoicism and allow yourself to truly be who you are. Scars and all, pain and all. That's what gives you character. That's what gives you that je ne sais quoi. You're fully comfortable in who you are. With all your insecurities, with all the bad things that have happened to you, you've accepted them, you've analyzed them. They're a part of your story, but they're not your whole story. They may be one chapter, but they're not the whole book. And the beauty of a man is that we're able to reinvent ourselves every single day. You could wake up every single day and say, today I decide to be this. And you can do it. We are creators as men, and that's the beauty of this journey. So whatever you're dealing with right now, you don't have to be bound by that wound. Rather, you can acknowledge the wound. All right, cool. I'm gonna use this for some juice. I'm gonna put this shit in my pocket. I'm gonna need it. But that's not gonna be my only fuel source, because my energy comes from the fact that I know who the fuck I am. And that's where you get the deep confidence. That's when you're fucking life instead of life fucking you. You're making love to life like you make love to your woman. A great book that talks about this is The Way of the Superior Man. Excellent read. I've read it like 4 times. Let's move on to number 4, gentlemen. Number 4, fellas, the 4th way to heal the little boy in you is gonna be simply to rewrite your script. Okay, so what do I mean by rewrite your script? Because this is a very simple concept that seems to go way over a lot of you guys' heads. Fellas, as I said earlier, you guys are creators. Whatever your chip is, whatever your wound is, I'm sitting here talking to you guys as a man that has been deeply wounded. The little stories I've told you guys, right? That's not even a fraction of what I've seen. Brains being splattered, like at a young age, like that's not even a fraction of what I've seen. And I'm here to tell you, you can rewrite your script. Whether your script is your mom was an alcoholic, the babysitter used to touch you, right? You're not confident or whatever it was. The good thing is that you can choose to be who you want to be. Now, in the previous video, I told you guys that you have to write your life script in present tense, and this is gonna be your internal GPS, and this is gonna give you that North Star, so when you wake up every day, you have that oomph, you have that purpose, right? But for those of you guys that haven't watched that video and you're just now tuning into my channel, maybe this is your first time coming across my work, you're gonna wanna watch a lot of my content to get caught up to some of these more profound pieces of material that I'm talking to you guys about. But you can choose to be whatever man you want to be. If you are a 27-year-old man right now, and maybe you're working at a warehouse and you're only making $2,500 USD a month, and you would like to make $7,000 a month. Okay, write that into your script and start brainstorming, how could I get to $7,000 a month and actually make it real? Okay, so this is how I could get there. Well, then what? Start taking the steps. The issue with the modern man these days is that men are no longer men of action. We sit here on our computer screens, on our phones, and we watch other people living their lives. We watch vlogs. We watch all these motivational clips. We watch other people getting after it. And then we might go do a little something, might go hit a gym, but you're not really taking the necessary actions to experience the life that you want. Fellas, you have to write your own script and live your life. You are the main character of your life. If you can look at yourself like a movie and every day you get up and it's a different scene, right? You'll start to have some excitement. An exercise that I like to do with my clients in modern day Renaissance men is I talk about the camera theory. And the camera theory states this: if there was a camera on you 24/7, right? And the whole world, all 8 billion, however many souls are on this planet right now, all 8 billion people were tuned into you and your life was like a show 7 days a week, right? How would you act if you knew that that camera was on you? Would you be digging your nose? Would you be stroking your joint eagle spread, right? Would you be stalking this girl's account? Would you be going to sleep late, not eating healthy, not honoring yourself when you said that you wanted to be fit? Would you be studying, investing in different pieces of educational material? Would you be an honorable son, brother, father, man? You'd probably be honorable if you had the limelight on you. But the fact that you can get away with certain things, right, enables you to slack off a little bit. This is why you guys need a brotherhood of ambitious, high-achieving men. That's why I created my community and mentorship, Modern Day Renaissance Man. If you need the help, fellas, tap that link down below and apply to work with me. You'll get on a call with me directly or somebody from my team, and we'll see if it makes sense for me to service you at the highest level. You cannot do this on your own. It doesn't matter how many self-improvement videos that you watch. Tap that link, fellas. I'll see you there. But I digress. You have to write your script and take those actions. If that camera was on you 24/7, everybody here knows that we be on our best behavior. So if you can look at your life like that and literally act that way, you'll find that you'll start to move more congruently with the man that you want to be. Let's move to number 5. Number 5, fellas, and I'm not going to be here for too long because this one ties into a previous concept that I spoke to you guys about, but I wanted to double down on this concept because I feel that this is so important. Number 5 is going to be reignite your little boy. And I'm going to break down what this means, fellas. When I say reignite your little boy, one thing that I told my client, Hernan, was good, G. One thing I told Hernan was, for me, there are certain times where I'll just allow myself to just lay down, watch cartoons, right? I don't watch cartoons too often, but I'll just, to reminisce, I might watch an episode of like, Hey Arnold, or I might spend an hour looking at cars on YouTube like I did like when I was a kid, or I'll just allow myself to dream. And so many men are walking around dreamless, defeated, exhausted, right, from life because you got bills, you got kids, you got other obligations. And what I mean by reigniting this little boy is allowing yourself to be a kid, bro, right? I know we got responsibilities. Like, I got the weight of my family on my back. You know, I help out my mom. I got like so many things going on, but I allow myself to pour into my cup and to pour into that little boy to make him feel safe. So I'll just watch videos on cars. I might watch some Hey Arnold, right? Some people might want to play video games for a little bit, right? You see all these videos saying, oh, you should stop playing video games and stop doing this. Bro, fuck all that shit. If you've done your work for your day, you've checked all your boxes, you could take an hour to relax. If you want to scroll on Instagram for an hour after getting all your objectives and tasks done for the day, do that. If you want to watch something, a movie, do that. I practice doing this probably a couple times a week, man. I just take some time for myself, bro, and I relax, bro. And I allow myself to laugh at a funny meme. I allow myself to watch a little cartoon or to watch a little movie. I allow myself to just laugh and not be so stiff and rigid. I allow myself to dance, right? I'm learning how to dance salsa. Right? Like, I'm just doing things to like heal that inner child so I'm not so stiff. Many of you guys are so stiff. You're stiff in your careers. You're stiff in your relationships, right? And so you got to learn how to reignite that little boy and do things that are fun, not just masculine fun thing like, oh, I shoot guns. I do martial arts. I'm with the boys. We're grinding. Nigga, like, bro, okay. From one ambitious man to another, I'm telling you right now, you do not work harder than me. I'll tell you that right now. And even myself, I'll just chill. Take an hour, take an evening, I'll relax. You need this to recharge. You need this to be whole, right? This masculine man shell and mask that y'all are wearing, you are an eclectic being, fellas. I'm not on go mode 24/7, right? I'm on go mode often, but there's times where I just want to relax. And if I've earned it, I'll relax. So you got to understand how to have this balance and how to heal that little boy in you. What did you enjoy doing when you were a kid, right? You don't got to do everything you enjoyed when you were a kid, but you got to be able to pour back into yourself so that you can be a complete man. And part of being a complete man is identifying your traumas as a child, like I said, right? Is making yourself feel safe, being your own coach, your own cheerleader, right? Fathering yourself like a king is another talking point, right? Being there for yourself when something bad happens to you, when something hurts you, when somebody disrespects you or whatever happens, just having a pep talk with yourself. Self-regulation, fellas, and your ability to self-regulate yourself will give you the credentials needed to lead others effectively, because you cannot lead others in an organization. You can't scale your business. You can't be a good father or husband, right? Boyfriend, whatever you want to be. You can't be a good brother until you could be a good man for yourself. And all this starts with the psyche. All this starts with the mind. All this starts with you being comfortable with who you are. There's a lot of men walking around here who are not comfortable with themselves, and it shows by how they carry themselves. But if you can learn how to reignite that little boy, that twinkle in your eye that you had when you were 8 years old that got snuffed away, if you can get that twinkle back into your eye as a grown man, and you're still handling your shit, you're still taking care of your duties, you're doing everything, but you have that exuberance to you. You have that spirit of joy. I'm telling you, it's going to be infectious. Watch your business go up. Watch your relationships get better. Watch your friendships get better. And watch every sector of your life improve. You're welcome.